where do West Ham need to strengthen? So I've identified a few areas West Ham have looked at. Obviously, right wing back we've covered now with Kufal. I'm going to go to Jeff, mate. Where do you think we should strengthen? And if you've got any ideas about who we should bring in.
Morning, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, sweet, mate.
For having me on, mate. I think we're certainly an injury away to Ogbonna from being in serious trouble defensively. We look all to see when he's not in the side. So I certainly think we need more depth at centre back. I actually feel that we need someone with Premier League experience to step into that role, especially if Ogbonna was to pick up an injury. I actually like the thought of perhaps Stones coming in, because I know Moyes has worked with him before, and I know he doesn't always shine at City, but he's an experienced Premier League player. He played a lot for England and for Everton and Man City, so he hasn't become a bad defender overnight. So I think that could be a good shout for us. Same with Rudiger, similar situation. So I'd perhaps like to see one of those guys come in as a bit of depth in defence. And the same up top. Well, I mean, realistically, we've only really got one recognised striker in Haller. Antonio, yes, he's used as a striker, but I mean, I see him as a winger. I don't know about you guys. And it seems that the gaffer doesn't trust Silva, and there's nobody else that seems to be coming through. So feels to me like we need some more striking options. I mean, like I say, our first 11 looks all right, but a couple of injuries and looks a little bit threadbare, you know?
Yeah, mate, I think that's the thing. We're obviously a few injuries away from, and I think we saw that against Everton with that side we put out, which is essentially our second team. And they struggled massively against Everton. If we come up against them in the league with a few of them on, and I think this is the thing I said in my post-match reaction was, it's all right looking at it and saying it's a different side, but say, for example, Masuaku gets injured and then you've got to play Anderson, and all of a sudden he's not turning up. It's like, then what do you do? We haven't strengthened. And I do think it's a good signing, Cooper, as well. I don't know, I haven't seen too much of him, but he does look like a good fit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you just touched on it. Our left side, I worry about. If we were to lose Masuaku, it doesn't really leave us a lot. You can't trust Anderson really to track back and look after Cresswell, where where he can look a little bit vulnerable at times. So I think obviously losing Diangana was ridiculous, and that's left us exposed as well. But yeah, certainly centre back is the key for me at the moment, which seems to be what West Ham are focusing on actually.
Yeah, obviously we've got that Marseille defender. He come up last night. Apparently it's concrete, and potentially we could try and get him for around, I think it's 25 to 35 mil. That would be all our transfer budget gone. I can't see David Moyes coming into this season buying a centre back, which I know he wants, and not maybe trying to address that forward position. Maybe bring someone in on loan. Yeah, I mean, 40. What are we saying, mate? What are we saying about who you'd like to bring in? Ooh. Oh, he's gone. Never mind. Didn't like the question. Rudy, mate, who should we bring in?
A bit like Jeff said, I definitely think centre back's the priority. We need cover at centre back. Having a right wing back come in is good, because I've not thought Fredericks was good enough for a long time, and also Ben Johnson. I think he could do a job there, but I'm not sure he's an out and out right wing back. So having him learn off someone else who's more attacking, it sounds like from what I've read on Kufal, he's quite an attacking, forward-minded player, and he's 28. He's already played in the Champions League this year, so he should be ready to go straight away. I think Alan Irvine said he could even play on Sunday, so that's just the right back situation. So as far as I'm concerned on that, that's fine. I just think we need a centre half so badly. I think the game against Everton showed us that if we ever switch to a back four again, we're in big trouble, because we were horrendous at the back. Even with Declan Rice, our best defender at the back, we were just all over the place. But I think, yeah, as we said, if Ogbonna goes down injured, we're really in a bad place. Diop seems to be quite out of form at the moment. He seems to be diving into tackles and missing things a lot at the moment, a bit out of position. Balbuena looked solid in the three, and so did Cresswell, to be fair to him. I'm his biggest critic. He actually was covered quite well in a three and gives quite enough balance with his left foot on that left side. But I think a right-footed kind of centre-back in the three would be the biggest thing that I'd go for. This Caleta Car looks like a good player from Marseille. I hate believing transfer rumours until they come true. I've learned over the years to not get my hopes up over anyone, and I try and not jinx it by watching a YouTube video until they sign. But then one did come up on Twitter, so I watched it, and he looks like a pretty complete ball-playing centre-half, good in the air, good on the floor, good in the tackle. So he looks like he could be a good option. I'm not sure why he would leave. Apparently, he's forcing a move to us. I'm not sure why he would leave Marseille and do that. They've got in the Champions League this year. They look like a good team under Villas-Boas. So I don't know why he would want to do that, but if he does, I'm all for it because I wouldn't mind getting one back over them for nicking Payet off us. So I think that's a big priority. Also think, a left back. If Masuaku, he's fine in the left wing back position. He's a little bit hot and cold for me, but in the left wing back position, I'll take him all day. If we have to go to a back four or if he's injured, I just don't trust Cresswell in that position anymore. So I think we need potentially a young up and coming left wing back to come and learn off of Masuaku, if you can learn anything off of him, but like kind of to grow in that role and develop over the next couple of years and become a long-term left wing back. If there's a bargain to be got out there, a bit like maybe Brighton got with Lamptey, then I would like to see us go and do something. I can't think of one at the top of my head at the moment who's a left wing back who I would take that's played in a 5. But I definitely think that's a position that he's strengthening. And also, if the game against Everton taught us anything, we need a midfielder because Snodgrass and Noble were just absolutely all over the place in that game. A combined age of 66 years old. Like you can't be running the midfield of two players that are 66. They're both good footballers. There's no doubt about it. But I think apparently Josh Cullen's not. Well, I read a rumour that he's off to Anderlecht or he's not in the plan. I would like to see him given a go in that midfield as the kind of third choice behind Souček and Rice. But I definitely think we need another midfielder, bit of energy, quite a dynamic midfielder, someone that can play the kind of Souček or Rice role. They don't necessarily need to be a creative player because we've got that with Fornals, we've got that with Lanzini, we've got that with Bowen and Antonio. So I think, a kind of solid central midfielder wouldn't be a bad option. If we can maybe do a loan there. I've always liked the look of Billing at Bournemouth. I always thought he was a good player and he's a Moyes type player. I don't know if there's an opportunity to go and get him on loan. And also within Bournemouth as well, Josh King. I don't know why anyone hasn't snapped Josh King up yet. He's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. He's a bit like an Ollie Watkins in the sense that he's played up front in a 2. He runs the channels really well. I feel like he could be a great option to play with Antonio or Haller. So I'm not sure why someone hasn't gone in and snapped him up yet. Do a loan option with an option to buy at the end of the year. That gets him off the wage bill for Bournemouth and gets him Premier League experience, which surely he wants. So he's an option that I definitely would go for as well.
Mate, Josh King is a no-brainer. I think I saw something on Twitter saying he was available for around £10 million yesterday. I mean, for that, he's a proven goal scorer. Like you say, he is that Ollie Watkins mould, and his finishing's quality. And I think like Antonio, as good as he is up front, obviously he runs the channels, he's physical, he adds a lot to the side. We don't have that. If we're not going to play Allaire, we do need that clinical striker up front, and Josh King would be perfect. I think I asked X a question on this podcast. I think it was, will we keep the same system? And I think that's going to dictate a lot of our transfer activity because this is obviously new to all of us. We've only seen it twice now. If we maintain it, then maybe we need to look at that left wing back position and say who's going to come in if Arthur's injured. Because I just think for West Ham particularly, I think Cresswell is poor in that left back, and I think he's still a little bit of a weakness at centre back. I just think because he's got players covering for him, it's a bit easier. But we got to be wary of that, and it all comes down to squad depth. We need to massively improve. I think we'll get a few loans in. We've even gone for, I think it was Vanaken or someone from the Belgium league, and I think he's a 6'4" midfielder. Again, energy. I think, and I know people just say it's the cup competitions against Charlton and Hull, but actually there was energy in that midfield with Cullen, and it makes such a big difference to the whole side. So definitely need some of that, particularly if Cullen leaves. Fordy, mate, what were you saying? Who would you like to see brought in and in what positions?
I think obviously at the end of the day, it showed that with Rice in defence, our midfield is seriously lacking. So if he picks up a knock, then I just don't know if Souček's going to be able to cope there by himself. So I actually thought someone like Guendouzi from Arsenal would be decent. Because obviously he's not wanted there at the moment. I think rumours of Marseille looking at him, does a job, turns defence into attack.
I think he's struggling here, but definitely Guendouzi does turn defence into attack. That's not a bad shout, actually. While we're waiting for Fordy to get back, Bill, what would you say? Guendouzi, would you have him in, maybe on a loan?
Yeah, I'd take him, mate. Yeah, he's very, he's still very raw, but he's played a lot of games with such a young player. Pass the ball quickly, and he's decent in the tackle as well. So I'd certainly have him. And I think what the chaps have said earlier about central midfield, that Everton game has highlighted how short we are in quality, but also numbers as well. I mean, you take Rice and Souček out of that midfield, we haven't got a huge amount there. Obviously Noble and Snodgrass, and they're advancing in their years. They're past their peak now, and obviously Cullen's still not proven at this level, and Connor Coventry is very raw. So I think we need someone in the centre of the park, a centre back as well. I think especially if we're going to play 3 centre halves every game, we need someone anyway. Even if someone just to cover, really. I mean, I would have taken Shane Duffy, but obviously he's not available now. So someone like that who's got that little bit of experience. I think Jeff said Rudiger. I think that's a great shout. I don't think he's good enough for Chelsea in terms of qualifying for the Champions League, but he's more than good enough to play for us, I think. So if we could get him on loan, I'd certainly have him. And yeah, left back, that's still a problem. Obviously Cresswell, left back, none of us I don't think really fancy. And if Masuaku picks up an injury or loss of form, I don't see who can play that. I don't think Ben Johnson's really a wing back. So that possibly might be somewhere to look at. And if you've only got Antonio and Hilaire as the striking options, I think we're short in that area as well. But those options we've all talked about, that's been the same since the start of the transfer window, and even in centre midfield ever since we sold like Obiang, Fernandes. We haven't really replaced them apart from getting Souček, and that we could have done with those kind of players now, I think. That's still somewhere we need to look at as well.
Yeah, do you know what's slightly concerning though? I think I've seen the rumour mill with Craig Dawson coming around. I mean, Fordy, we'll get back to you, mate, because you did make a good point about Guendouzi. But I mean, what are we saying about Craig Dawson potentially coming into West Ham?
Well, I mean, sorry, do you want to read that one?
So who's that addressed to, mate?
Oh, it's 40, but then sort of opened it up a bit.
Yeah, my mate's actually a Watford fan, to be honest, and he said that he's okay, but he wouldn't be bothered if he left. Put it that way. I know he's good at set pieces, a bit of an old-fashioned centre back, but I think it's not really progression, to be honest. Getting someone like him, I'd rather have Balbuena, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only argument, isn't it? When you bring Dawson in, obviously he's good from set pieces, and it is like a massive part of our play. But I do think a club like West Ham shouldn't be aiming for a centre back that's been relegated twice in a struggling side. Maybe he'll do better in the back three. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping we do get this Marseille defender in, because he does look the real deal. The price seems all right as well. Fingers crossed Sullivan doesn't start negotiating over the add-ons too quick. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Pulling up what Rudy said about Josh King as a shout. Yeah, it is, mate, to be fair. Like, I completely slipped my mind, but I remember seeing something in that on the transfer window rumour mill saying he could come in. Again, he's at Bournemouth. Bournemouth have sold a number of their players now. They're looking to recoup quite a bit, actually. So, and I don't think he's played too many games for them down in the Championship. So, great shout, mate. Even if it was a loan, to be fair. Yeah, it's just having a look. Yeah, interesting. Dennis brought this up as well. Edmilson Fernandes, we sold him. I think he would have been I think we never really saw a lot of him at West Ham. Would have been a good bit of squad depth to have had.